Hey there, Pisces. Thank you for joining me. This is a tarot reading for mid-Cancer season. Um, and it's a tarot reading, so it is. We actually already have the first card, the Page of Wands. But before I get into the card, I just wanted to say that I do traditional tarot interpretations, but I also mix it up with deacon symbols, and the ones by Martin Goldsmith I kind of favor, but I also consider what Austin Coppock has written about it, about the symbols, the deacons, because the deacons and the minor arcana are connected. That was too many A's and C's uh, in the sentence. So we have the Page of Wands for you in the past position. What else can we see for Pisces for mid-Cancer season here? Page of Wands is the season that we're in right now, so like the longer season, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. So summer, early fall. Um, could be last year as well. It's more like probably more recent past, but we see what's coming up here for you, Pisces. And the star is showing its face, but it's not committing, so we're gonna put it back. What else can we see? Thank you. We have the Five of Wands, which is the first decan of Leo. It's coming up, but it's what is it? Two. Uh, just trying to figure out in my head like when it's gonna start. I think it's 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now, roundabout. Um, what else can we see for Pisces here? What can we see for Pisces? Usually the Five of Wands is like my card for of like sparring. Sorry. Um, so kind of like playful, slightly competitive, dueling, one could say. But Martin Goldsmith, I think, has a different take on it. He says, and I'm quoting, a circus parade led by a beaming child driving a horse-drawn chariot. Behind him come elephants, lions, and giraffes, and a swaying brass band of saxophones, tubas, and trombones. So lots of stuff going on. Lots of competing energy. So he puts it into like lots to see, lots to hear, a lot of action going on rather than people actually fighting like we see here in the card. But it is still fighting like these different energies of like elephants, lions, giraffes, a horse-drawn chariot, and a swaying brass band of different with different instruments. That's fighting for your attention. Um, what else can we see? Thank you. You have the King of Pentacles, which is Taurus energy. So that would be of the past. Maybe the future is the past. Maybe the past is the future. We shall see. Four of Cups, which is the decan that is gonna follow this decan that we're in right now. We are in the second decan of Cancer, which is the Three of Cups, and followed by the third decan of Cancer, which is the Four of Cups. Now, the Three of Cups is an energy of like an emotional support network when it comes to the outside situation of our lives or interaction with other people. But it can also very much be our experiences with past lives. Like, I very much believe in past lives, generally, um, and future lives, that is. Um, And I think these lives often have, at least some of them, or parts of these lives have importance for the present life. And with the Three of Cups, we kind of get into a conversation with these lives, these aspects of ourselves, really. Kind of like a conversation with an actual person. Like if you that advance in spiritual work or shadow work, then at some point it's going to feel like that because you're getting so many hints and so many hits. And the Four of Cups is then the proceeding from that, where it's more becoming like the connection gets so like the Three of Cups is more like an introduction into it, or like a discovery. Discovery is probably the better word, because introduction feels like the first time, but we never fully get like the full picture the first time. We only get like introduced, and we start out somewhere like exploring a room, but to really get a grasp of what this room, what what is in the room, you need to really walk around and look at everything. And that is more like the Four of Cups, where we get into a deeper relationship with our past selves and future selves, perhaps as well. That we can kind of, it's almost like a sacred wedding, I want to say. Like fours are like numerology wise give a lot of stability. So you could say that you have married your past selves. Like, don't get too much into that picture, because technically that would be like a, what is it called? A poly marriage or whatever. Like, but it's aspects of yourself. So it's fine. You can marry more than one side of yourself, so to speak. And Martin Goldsmith calls it. He doesn't give names, but he has phrased it as a member of a shipwrecked community of Englishmen marries a native girl in a non-traditional ceremony. Behind them, the long neck of a brontosaurus rises over the waters. Like this brontosaurus really freaks me out every time. But I think it just means that you're not freaking out any longer. Like because the first times you kind of encounter perhaps your past lives and stuff, it's freaky. It's like weird. It's like these synchronicities, and you're like, what? I've been here before, but I've not. Like this is the first time I'm here, but I recognize so many things and connect to it. And but I'm also surprised of how it looks like now, and it's like, doesn't make any sense. That kind of stuff. Um, but once you've married these past or future aspects of yourself, I think the beast, the brontosaurus that lurks over the situation with its neck at all times, like a super being watching everything, it kind of becomes your friend. You realize, okay, it's not a T-Rex, it's not gonna try to swallow you whole. It's actually a vegetarian. I actually have no clue about brontosaurus seeds, if they're vegetarian or not, but I'm just gonna go with that. I'm just gonna run with it, and assume that he is. And anyway, if he's not, then this version of Thesaurus is turning into a vegetarian. So he's not a threat any longer. It's not a beast any longer. And it's kind of like this trusting of your subconscious, I would say, that is because you're marrying yourself. You're kind of like, yeah, I trust you. Be yourself as much as you can, and we're good. So let me clarify after my little gulp here. The Page of Wands. Yeah, and I talked a lot, like in the beginning, about like this could be this season, this could be last year, this year, future, Taurus season, Taurus month. I mean, with the Four of Cups now and everything I've said, it feels a bit like, well, what is future and past anyway? It's like, It kind of coincides all in the present moment, doesn't it? Because I'm here, I have awareness about the past and the future. So kind of gets very relative. We have another page, Page of Pentacles. This time, this is my training deck, by the way. That's why it looks not so pretty. But I like it. I really, really appreciate this deck, so I like to use it. We have the Nine of Cups. Pisces energy, you, the second deacon of Pisces. So if you have, oops, I don't read reversals, like, that's the Emperor. So if you have any placements in the midst of Pisces, in the middle, I mean, of Pisces, from 10 degrees something Pisces to 19 degrees something Pisces, so the 11th to 20th degree, that is the second decan of Pisces. And this decan is about a journey, or really having been on a journey. Like the Eight of Cups is this person who, I'm just gonna see if I can find the card, who has 8 cups, like a lot of cups, but they're not satisfied with it. So they go onto like a journey to find the 9th cup. And this dude here, he has found the 9th cup. So he's very happy with himself, and he's displaying all of these 9 cups in the background here. But I mean, it's Pisces, it's you, so the journey is not over, though. It might come sort of to an end, but then again, every end is a beginning. So, and the big waters of Pisces, I mean, all inviting. So how can you not journey through, on, in the waters, above the waters, whatever, if you have so much around you. And Martin Goldsmith phrases this energy of this decan and card as following: having completed a circuitous sea journey, a group of seekers enter a domed temple in order to receive instruction from a spiritual teacher. On the altar, there are offerings of wine, fruit, and fragrant lotus blossoms. So he chooses, like Martin Goldsmith also chooses to use the display energy, kind of like Pamela Coleman Smith has done as well, with putting these 9 cups like on a, what is that, high table of some sorts. Yeah, it's called that, a high table. I don't know what else to call this. It is an energy that talks about the bountiful, or the abundant bounty that you get from wandering around, like all of the experiences that you have gathered are kind of displayed here, and you're not done yet. Though you have wandered around a lot, it's not the 10 of Cups yet, and the 10 of Cups is always, it is like the happily ever after card, but personally, I don't believe in happily ever after, because happily ever after implies that the difficulty is over, but the difficulty can never be over, because otherwise, how could we grow? And if we do not grow, how do we develop? How do we evolve? Because if life is ever changing, and if we do not, well, I think it's impossible not to change, but if we do not put in the effort to kind of steer ourselves and take responsibility for ourselves and be sovereign beings, then we're going to devolve automatically. So change that is happening to us is kind of devolution. It kind of goes down the drain. And in order to prevent that, we need to put in the effort as much as possible especially the ones that, like I said, not being thrown at us like all the lessons, but the lessons that we claim, that we do on our own as much as possible. So the happily ever after kind of like thinking in this, like I just want to live the best life. I just want to have, I just want to be happy. That's my life goal. In my book, that's not gonna work out. You're kind of inviting the devil to dance on your fucking roof. Just excuse my French, but the your house is gonna get on fire. Like something's gonna happen. Um, that's my take on it. And yeah, it's the emperor. Like who's in charge here? And I'm not saying that we are in charge, you are in charge, I am in charge. I'm not in charge. I'm not in charge of my life, but I do have responsibilities. I think my higher self is in charge, and I get to execute what the higher self has decided uh, to do, and I decide how to do it. Like I'm the micromanagement in a way, or management is probably not the right word. I'm like lower level or mid level, probably mid level management. And by definition, my kind of being cannot be at the top tier management. So it's impossible, really, because I think my body and how I sit here and the thing that is talking, the person that is talking, that's the lower self, and it's a representation of the higher self. So I'm as this representative, I cannot make the top tier decisions. I need to yield to them. I need to execute them. That's my responsibility here. But I also get to like call a lot of shots. Like that, my higher self also trusts me that I do my job. So I'm not being micromanaged. That's terrible. Um, Having said all that, how do I feel that you relate to that? Um, Maybe you've had quite a lot of those kind of thoughts as well, and you've made a new beginning in the past because we have in this past position these two pages, page of wands, which talks about make doing something differently, um, and the page of pentacles, which is our resources, our attention, our anything physical really, our body. It can pertain to our body. There in these areas, you really made different choices, somewhat of a new beginning, a different. Let's take this turn here. I've not taken a turn right here in the past, but I'm still not quite getting where this is, like, which area of life this is about. So it's still a bit too vague, too general. Let's see. I would like to clarify, and I'm trying to find the right deck for it. Is this the right one? No, we're gonna take the Edmund de Luck. Yes, I love the Edmund de Luck. It's so pretty. And I didn't shuffle it before, so I need to do that now. There we go. So, what else can we see here for the Page of Wands for this past position? Card flipping around, was that I think that's the Knight of Swords. I'm never sure with this one if it's the Knight or the Page, but I think that was the Knight of Swords. Which would mean like a different way of thinking. So it was a thinking thing going on. Change of mind. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah. Then we have a card that's committing. That is the King of Pentacles. That's Taurus energy. That's the same card as this one here. That kind of feels like the past is the future. Well, the future is the past, really. But we're gonna see. Life works in cycles, so don't stress about that. It's not gonna be back to square one. I don't think so. What else can we see here about the Page of Wands? What is the Page of Wands talking about? Ugh. Okay, that was a lot of cards. A near disaster. Did you avert a near disaster in the past? There we go. Five of Swords. That's a tricky card, traditionally, but I don't really see Five of Cups, another tricky card. Both very volatile energies, although the imagery here is just mesmerizing. Both in their own right. Anyway, I don't like in tarot there are tricky cards in their traditional or let's say straightforward mainstream reading. Maybe mainstream is a good or mainstream interpretation. Maybe that's a good word. But I don't believe that there are necessarily tricky decans. Every decan has a positive and a negative side. Every tarot card has a positive and a negative side. And it is up to us to see both sides of of all cards, of all decans. So with the Five of Swords, I think it is about being authentic and kind of separating yourself from the group, also for the sake of the group. It is the first decan of Aquarius, and Aquarius is very much about um, being like concerned about the group and doing well for the group, inside the group, being connected with the group, thinking for the group, if that's possible, if you can really think for the group, but let's say think in or as the group. But it's also about authenticity. So Aquarius is always in a tug of war, or a tug of war is going on inside of every Aquarius person, or a person with major or prominent Aquarius placements, because we all have all 12 signs, archetypes really, of the zodiac inside of us. So an Aquarian or a Pisces doesn't really exist because we all Aries through Pisces, like the whole spectrum. But it is then a card that can very much talk about conflict, and traditionally, like the depiction of the Five of Swords is actually very similar to the Five of Wands, which is my card of like I said, sparring, like playful dueling. But with the Five of Swords, it's a bit different because the fight seems to be already over. This one person has won, two swords on the floor, three in his hands, two people walking away, and one is kind of having a grim smile on his face. Yeah, it's that it's my card of choose your battles wisely. Traditionally, that's my interpretation. Um, but I really like the deacon symbol of Martin Goldsmith here, which is the Pied Piper follows a zigzag course up a mountain path. He has a knapsack on his back and carries a single feather in his hand. Ahead of him, an eagle soars toward a distant waterfall high on the mountain. So the Pied Piper is just leaving town, going up the mountain, so going on an arduous adventure. He wants to reach his higher self, up the mountain into the sky. and he's following his more perhaps animalistic self, his instincts, depicted or represented by the eagle, but also with a feather in his hand, like the connection to up above. Um, and he's just going for it. And it's not easy because he's going towards the waterfall, and I think in this case the waterfall can mean healing, like the healing waters of Aquarius, which we see in the star card, which we don't have here, but there's a pond depicted in the Aquarius card, and the lady in the card is like getting water from the pond, and but a waterfall can also be destructive and overwhelming because it's a lot of water rushing down turbulently. So I think that there was some sort of situation that you um where you've how do you call that, like made yeah you just made a decision to prevent something from happening, and you succeeded. I think you succeeded in that. But let's see with the Five of Wands here, because maybe the situation is not over, because everything seems to be looping here. The Fool just showed its face, which is a very similar picture. Martin Goldsmith kind of associates the Five of Swords with the Fool card, so that's no coincidence. Which I just take as confirmation of what I just said. So you called the shots in the past on a situation to prevent something from happening, or to avoid some disaster. I think that's a better description. Um, and you really committed to it, like absolutely. And I think you were right, absolutely right to Page of Swords there to change your way of thinking. But I think it has more consequences than in the now than you anticipated back then. But let's see about the Five of Wands, what we can see here. What can we see about the Five of Wands? Yeah. Three of Pentacles, which is traditionally a good card. It's a card of collaboration, but Martin Goldsmith has a slightly different um, interpretation, a slightly different take on it, because he sees um, I'm never sure how to pronounce this right, a sauter, like this creature with like a horned, a horned creature with hind legs like a goat, but walking upright like a man. Suddenly appears, turning. Oh, I can't read my own handwriting. Seriously, I'm just gonna read it from here then. There. Oh yeah, and I didn't start at the beginning of the sentence. Cool. Yeah. Under a huge tree, in the central square of an old world town, a horned satyr suddenly appears, turning somersaults and dancing wildly. The townspeople give chase to the fleet-footed figure, but succeed only in destroying a lot of property. So, and then, like, Pamela Coleman Smith painted three people discussing the works on a building. Like it's supposed to be the architect, the person who gave the order to build the building. I think it's a church that they're building, and then the handyman actually doing the work. And Martin Goldsmith basically gives the reason of why the church or this building needs to be rebuilt, because it got destroyed by the Satyr. Sorry. I just, some English words I just need to hear in order to know how it's pronounced. English is crazy sometimes. Just saying. I love English. I think in English most of the times for many decades already. But sometimes I'm not very happy with English, but I just need to learn it. That's what I need to do. I just need to go up on the internet and listen to a recording of this word. That's my homework for after this reading. Anyway, yeah, I have a flipped card. I just need to flip it around. Where is it? Oh, I hate when this happens. Yeah, whatever. What else can we see about this Five of Wands? There we go. Always on the floor. The Six of Swords. That's actually beautiful because it follows on from the Five of Swords. Where we have separation with the Five of Swords. The Six of Swords is much more about the fruitful conversation of two polarities. Once they have been polarized, now can interact with each other and have a fruitful conversation. Like Aleister Crowley calls this card signs. So kind of, I'm not sure actually it was signs like what he sees as polarities there, but he probably didn't have the same thinking as I kind of have with this card. Um, but because signs for me, at least, well, most of what we call signs, I'm a scientist myself, so I think I can talk that way. Most of the signs out there being done is actually scientism, and as every ism, there's a lot of ideology going on in it, and it's actually shutting itself off from things you cannot see. Like science relies only on the five senses, and every and all. Um, what's the word? Like zooming in, like blowing it up, like a microscope or telescope. You just enhance all of your five senses in one way or another. And then you have, of course, math, theoretical physics as kind of like the understanding or the concept, the philosophy behind it, and also giving the mathematical framework and tools, the language, so to speak. But I don't really see how science is the result of anything really getting into contact with each other. But that's just my take on it. If anything, science would be one of the two sides of this card. Like you can see, it's a ferryman bringing a woman and a child across a sea or pond or lake, and there is still water and choppy water in the foreground, and they're right at this interface of these different waters. And science would be one of the waters, but not. And you could say reasoning is like a better word for science, and then intuition is maybe on the other side, and then in the middle of it is magic. That would be my take on it, but your current situation, it really progressed from the 5 to the 6 because but there's also a lot of destruction. There is a lot of destruction in the now. I'm wondering what's going on. And it feels like it's a consequence of your past decision, of this new beginning that you made, of these two pages, the Page of Wands and the Page of Pentacles. Can we have another card here, please? I think the Five of Swords showed itself again, but it didn't commit. It didn't come out. So what can we see? What else can we see here for the Five of Wands? It feels very long. It feels very arduous. It feels very frustrating. It feels very sucky. I'm just sitting here shuffling. It feels so stupid. But it's not stupid. It just takes time. Yeah. That the world just showed its face, and I'm not even gonna show it really because I'm gonna put it back. But this world card was not depicting Saturn because this is 80 cards, not 78 cards, so it has two additional cards. And one of those cards is the card of Sedna, and it's the card that I just showed you. And Sedna is a dwarf planet that I think is the modern ruler of Virgo. And Virgo is your opposite sign. So whenever we say Pisces in a way, we also say Virgo. And when we say Virgo, we kind of always say Pisces as well. And Sedna is the card that talks about reclaiming your innocence, at least in my book, and talks about very huge transformations. It's also very much related to water, so emotions, but also the big ocean like Pisces is. But I think it's in detriment. It's probably, yeah, I think it's in detriment in Pisces, which is very interesting. Very controversial almost. So maybe you have become a controversial person for some reason, for your decisions, for your decision. Maybe more than one decision. It's 2 pages, could be more than one decision of the past. And I don't know if you lost friends or something changed. That's the Queen of Wands. That's Aries energy. Have you maybe seen through some illusions? Maybe you've understood something about yourself or about the world. Your beliefs or your understanding shifted, but not so much your friends' beliefs. Like I mean, we cannot change anyone. We can always just change ourselves. And it is just then a consequence of really accepting that we're gonna lose people throughout our lives. I don't think it is purposeful. It is purposeful at times to walk this journey alone, but it's not really purposeful for the most part to always have someone around you. And that means that some people are just going to leave and enter our lives at certain times. And I think life becomes very much easier emotionally once we accept that some chapters, like that, people are just gonna naturally come into and leave our lives at certain times. And I'm saying that with major Libra placements. Like I have major Libra placements, and for me, family is everything. I don't have major Cancer um, placements. Well, I have a lot of fortune, a lot of spirit in Cancer, but um, which is calculated from the big three, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. So I consider like the big five, adding a lot of fortune, a lot of spirit there as well. But still, um, yeah, I don't know how it is for you, Pisces. I mean, you relate very much to other people, so I think it's a similar journey for you, um, in a different kind of way than for a Libra, but still, yeah, I think you've lost some people over this. Sad. That's very sad. But I think it's necessary. I think you made the right choice there. I don't think it's time to, I don't know, to reverse a decision here or anything. I don't think you even contemplating that really. I just wanna throw that out there that I very much think this it's it's worth it long term. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So let's look at the Taurus card here, the King of Pentacles. What can we see about the King of Pentacles? Why is he here? The Fool on the floor. The Fool card, we already talked about it in a way, a little bit, indirectly. The Four of Swords, glare, sufficient. And the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so the Fool tells me, and the Three of Wands at the bottom now. The Fool tells me that there are outside forces working at you, perhaps your higher self, I would say, in the future, who are very much going to call in a new beginning. That's which is going to be based on your past decisions. So I think that's a very good sign. We do not have, except for the Nine of Cups-ish, any ending card here, but I think the King of, you can see the King of Pentacles as an ending as well, because the Pentacles suit is the most dense suit, so it stands at the end of Fire, Wands, Cups, Water, and Swords, Air, and then Pentacles or Earth. And you could see that as a completion of the elements. And then the Fool is gonna come in and herald in new energies. And I think 2026 is very much about new energies. And perhaps for you, the difference is gonna be in, when is it? When the South Node leaves, no, when the North Node leaves your sign, which is gonna be at the end of the month on the 27th. Maybe there's gonna be a big sigh for you. Finally, this is all over in a way. But let's see. The Four of Swords is kind of like, yeah, it's a resting period. It's like getting a breather. And Martin Goldsmith, what take does he have on this again? Guided by a single passenger, a hot air balloon emerges from a bank of storm clouds into the sunlight, then drifts. I can't read my own handwriting. Then drifts toward the domed marble building on a small island, I think. Yeah, you've been in the storm clouds and you just enter the sunlight again, and you have the opportunity to land your hot air balloon on a small island, and there's even a domed marble building on there, so there's shelter, and it's probably more the exquisite kind with marble and everything. So that very much sounds like you are following your inner compass, because Austin Coppock calls this decan gyroscope, and I'm not sure any longer what exactly a gyroscope was. I think it's something magnetic, but I have some sort of compass thingy in mind, so let's go with that. Um, And then the Two of Pentacles is a card of change. So this new beginning is gonna have some challenge to it, but it's very much worth it, I would say. Martin Goldsmith calls this, or gives the picture for this deacon, a castle atop an isolated mountain peak surrounded by a great wall. The king oversees the rebuilding of the wall, while in the valley below, the queen attends to the great mill, a dwarfish child playing by her side. Um, it is like the ever-changing nature of things. Like things break down, they need to be rebuilt. There is walls, so that we have an outside and an inside, that we have a playing field that we can develop in, but we have also something to venture out of, that we can leave. Also, two generations depicted here, man and woman as well. Um, it is the like how Pamela Coleman Smith has depicted it in this card, like the ever changing. Sorry, there we go. The ever changing nature of life. With this, oh, what is it called again? This eight figure. The connection between the two pentacles. I forgot. It's kind of like the snake that bites its own tail in a way, like this infinity symbol. Um, Life goes in circles and cycles. Um, which closes the cycle. The loop that I said in the beginning is just the past or the future. The chores in the beginning. Is this last year? Is this year? Is it next year? Maybe you have this odd feeling that also within a year you have very similar things going on. Like July is always like these kind of things coming up, and August is always like that, or May is always like these and that, like relationship always comes up in March, work always comes up in December, whatever it might be. I think there's a very good reason for that, obviously, and it's in your natal chart, I would say, not necessarily cause-wise, because the natal chart in itself is just a reflection of the things that we want to achieve here in this life. So I kind of like see the characteristics shown in the natal chart as work clothes, like and the description of the work clothes kind of gives you a good idea about what you're supposed to do in this life, kind of like that. Um, Yeah, the Three of Wands is now at the bottom here. It's a card. It's a card that talks about achievements. It's very early in the zodiac. It's only the second decan of Aries, and the zodiac starts with Aries, so it can be like initial blessings and gifts coming in. But I think since we're talking about you, Pisces, and you just one sign ahead in a way of Aries, this is around the corner for you, and it's not so much a blessing, a gift, an initial one, but more like uh, I almost want to say like what is that called again? Like the crown of Caesar, like the crown of the winner. Forgot the plant that they used to have this with, but or made out of. But you know what I mean, I think. It's this classical depiction of an Olympic medalist back in the days, basically, or anyone who won anything. Um, yeah, so it's a mixed bag, Pisces, I'm not gonna lie. There are definitely difficulties and consequences to deal with in the moment, but I think it's very much worth to change your mind and to have changed your mind and to just suck it out. Like it's always easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. And so the just is always for me like touch it with gloves, like because a just is never really a just. Um, but I think these moments are very much very potent growth moments to just where we just holding the suck, where we just forced just just push through. It's kind of like training. It's kind of like this exercise, like when you're training your muscles. This exercise sucks. This is my worst, like my least favorite exercise, but you're going towards the moment where you're going to see, ooh, ooh, actually, this looks nice. So maybe it was worth it. Maybe my trainer was right in pushing me to do it every other day or whatever your routine may be. Well, it's just an analogy. So, um, whatever the trainer said to do. And I hated him for it or her. Uh, but I see why they did that. So that's what I have for you, Pisces. I'm so looking forward to your comments. Or like what because I'm always interested in finding out how this plays out in your life. I'm super curious to read what you're actually going through, like so that we can have like an interaction of what's going on, so that I can have feedback as well. Um, and if you like, you can give this video a thumbs up. If you don't, no shame. You can subscribe to the channel if you like to see more videos like this popping up on your feed. If you don't, no problem. And I just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking it out until the end. And I hope you have a splendid day. Bye bye.